Hello and welcome back to the Ironside, and thank you for joining me today on our scout report of Fiorentina. I've picked 4 players that I think we need to watch out for. You're going to see untold amounts of information in the next couple of weeks leading up to the final. But I thought I'd put it all in one place for you. Hopefully it gives a couple of you fans out there a little bit of an insight to the team we're playing. Right, so first I'm going to talk about their manager. The manager is called Vincenzo Italiano, and I have absolutely butchered that. I have no doubt in my mind. I'm not the best linguistically speaking, so yeah, we'll move on from that. But yeah, his name is Vincenzo Italiano, and he has been their manager for I think it's his first season. It might be his second. I'm not too sure. I didn't look that up. It doesn't really matter. But he likes to play a 4-3-3. So similar to us, so they'll line up very similarly to us. Although they play a possession-based game, which is something we tried early on in the season, we had absolutely no joy and reverted back to what we're seeing now, which is a counter-attacking team. But nonetheless, they play a possession-based game, and they are very, very good at it. They have a very respectable average of 58% possession in their games from Serie A this season. That is second only behind the league leaders and champions, I believe, Napoli. So we're not gonna see much of the ball. Like, I think that's something we need to get our heads around, because it's just not our game. We'll be playing into their hands if we try to, but they're going to dominate the ball. They're going to have loads more of the ball than us, and we just need to accept that before we go into it. They like to build from the back, very similar to AZ Alkmaar, although I think Fiorentina will have much more success in building from the back. That's because they have greater threat moving forward. They've got better players in attacking and wide areas. Also, they've got better midfielders. So it won't be as slow as what we saw against AZ Alkmaar. So they had loads of the ball over the 2 legs, which you would have noticed, but they didn't really do much with it. Hopefully it's the same with Fiorentina. Hopefully they don't do anything with it, and I'm just reading into things too much. But I think we can expect them to create a few more problems than what we had against Alkmaar. Playing a very similar game though. Now moving into their midfield, having Amrabat the number 6, so I'll go on and talk about more in depth shortly. But he plays in their number 6 role. He allows his manager to play with essentially 2 number 8s or an 8 and a 10, because he'll sit deepest of the 3 and he'll just screen the back 4 completely, and that gives the freedom to the 2 players he's playing alongside in midfield to get forward, to be more creative. This is what David Moyes wants us to have. He wants to have a number 6 and then 2 creative midfielders ahead of him, to pull the strings. And that's what he tried doing with, he tried playing Souček in that number 6 role with Paquetá and Rice earlier on in the season, but it just didn't work. Souček can't play that role, and Rice is our best 6. So it just doesn't work. They also like to play a relatively high line, which is where I think we can really, really upset them, because we've got the likes of Mickey, Bowen, Benrahma, Cornet if he ever gets on, and Fornals are running behind. So that's an area that we need to be aggressive in, because they have such a high line, because they play such a high line. They're not blessed with blistering pace at the back. So that's somewhere we can definitely get some joy with their high line. And Paquetá will be able to find the areas to be able to exploit that high line, definitely. Ultimately, I think this is going to be a very close game, and it may come down to the odd goal. A set piece, or maybe a mistake. Hopefully a mistake from them, not for us. We've had enough mistakes in European competitions to last us a lifetime. Aaron Criswell. But it's going to be a very, very tough game. They're an Italian team, so we know what they're all about. They're going to set up really strong defensively. They're going to be good on the ball, and it's going to be an interesting game, and I want to just get into it. The 2 weeks leading up to it from now until then is something that's going to give me loads and loads of anxiety, as I'm sure it will loads of other people as well. Anyway, now moving on to a couple of players that I've highlighted as being problematic for us potentially. Fiorentina are blessed with an unbelievable squad, similar to us in that sense. They're probably 2 squads that should be in, on paper, should be in the UEFA Cup, Europa League, whatever you call it nowadays. Our squads are very, very good, and if you look at the rest of the squads in the Conference League, we should be the 2 teams in the final. But saying that, we still had to beat the teams that were put in front of us to get there. So congratulations to both teams. They've done an absolutely terrific job in getting there. So the first player we're going to talk about is their Brazilian striker. He's called Cabral. He is the leading goal scorer in the Conference League. Now, not many people would really know much about him because obviously Fiorentina have Luka Jovic. He's the player that obviously was the second part to that phenomenal strike force that Eintracht Frankfurt had with him and Haller the year that we signed Haller. So Haller came to us, and this guy, the Luka Jovic, went to Real Madrid, and everyone expected the world from him. It didn't quite work out for him, and now he's on loan at Fiorentina, and he hasn't really set the world alight. Cabral is their main striker. He is the player that I would imagine will start. He's 6'1", he's right-footed, and he's got 7 goals and 13 appearances in the Conference League, which is very, very good return. But saying that, Mickey has 6, so he's got 7, Mickey has 6, so you might want to read into that. You don't really have to, but I think he will be a problem for us. Domestically, he hasn't really hit the same heights. He's only got 7 goals in 27 appearances and 2 assists, so he's definitely saved his best form for the European competitions. He's a very, very strong centre forward. He's, again, similar to Mickey in that sense. He looks to play with his back to goal. He'll hold up the play and he'll bring in his wingers and his attacking players around him. He's a very, very good finisher. His finishing is top notch, so anything in and around the box, you can expect to see him get a shot away on target. He's good in the air, and he'll likely move between our centre backs, so he won't stand on Zuma and he won't stand on Aged all game. He'll swap between the two, so it'll make it very difficult for our centre backs to tie him down. One thing that we got going for us is that he isn't very fast. He won't run in behind, but Fiorentina do play with quite fast wingers, so I think he's going to be more of a diversionary tactic to get their wingers in behind us. But as far as him as a centre forward goes, I can't imagine him making too many runs in behind. Now moving on to Sofiane Amrabat, who I'm sure everyone will recognise as the Moroccan player who had an absolutely phenomenal World Cup, like most of the Moroccan players did. He was unbelievable, and rightly so. He had the world talking about him. He's a very, very good player. He stands just under 6'1", and he plays as an out-and-out number 6 for Fiorentina. Pretty much the same as what he did at the World Cup. He'll look to dictate the tempo of the play with his good vision and his very, very good passing range. He is a very technical player, and he always likes to show for the ball. So he'll receive the ball whether he's under pressure or not. He's there out. So similar to our Paquetá always shows for the ball. He might not be as silky and tricky as what Paquetá is on the ball, but you can expect to see him picking up the ball in all sorts of areas to relieve that pressure from the centre backs or the full backs. So we have to be wary in the press, because as I move forward to the other couple of players, you'll hear why. But if we do this sort of weird half press that we keep doing this season, we will get found out, because they've got a player in Amrabat who will be able to take that off the defenders or take that off the goalkeeper, turn and play a pass out to attacking players, and we'll be caught out. So we either need to go and press or we don't. I don't know about anyone else, but I absolutely hate it when we do this sort of tentative press, which we seem to be doing. And we've done it all season, where we sort of go, but then we stop, or one player goes and no one goes with him, and it causes more problems than it benefits, than its benefits. So I'd love to see us decide one way or the other whether we're going to press or not. I don't think we will, because they like to play from the back. They're not going to cause us too many problems if they're passing it around the back. It's only when they get the ball forward we need to really start panicking, or not panicking, but closing them spaces down. In terms of goal involvements, it isn't really his game. He's had 12 appearances with 0 goals and 0 assists, and just 1 assist in 28 games for Serie A. But like I said, that's not Amrabat's game. You saw him at the World Cup. I probably don't need to go into too much detail as to what he's going to bring because of that, because we had an in-depth look at him at the World Cup. And obviously, we've got Gerd, who's his international teammate. They will know a lot about each other, and I'm sure they'll be telling the rest of the team little nitbits about him and how we can tie him down. Now on to their next player, which I think it's going to be a real problem for us, and you'll hear why in approximately the first sentence. So Nicolas Gonzalez is an extremely pacey right winger, and that's all you need to know. So this guy is rapid. We're not blessed with pace in our team, period, but especially in fullback areas, especially left back. So Cresswell, who I'm going to assume is going to be our left back for the final, he'll be up against this guy, and this guy will have him on toast. If Cresswell isn't at his best, this guy is going to wreak absolute havoc. So he plays on the right wing. He likes to cut in on his favoured left foot because he's left-footed. I didn't say that, but yeah, he's left-footed. So he'll look to get into space, cut in, a bit like Robin used to do, and he'll either look to get a shot off or a cross. He's got very, very good close control, and his dribbling is superb. So he's a player that, if I'm honest, I don't want to see him on the ball at all. He is an exciting player to watch. If you haven't already, I would recommend going to look at him on whatever, really, any games this season that he's played. He's been very good. His game against Basel, he got two crucial goals that took the extra time. He had a very good game. And I think a lot of Italian outlets are pipping him to move on to some absolutely dizzy heights. It's vital that we stop him. We stop the ball getting to him come the 7th of June, because he's going to cause us havoc if we don't. We need to be stronger in the tackle. We need to isolate him and make sure the ball can't get out to him. He's also had a very good tournament. 10 appearances with 5 goals and 3 assists, which is a very good return for a right winger. I'm not too sure what Bowen's got, but it's not. I don't think it's quite that high. Domestically, again, he hasn't hit the same heights. He's got 5 goals and 1 assist in 23 appearances. They're decent numbers in the league, but in the Conference League, he is definitely saved his best form for that. Now moving out to their skipper. So their left back is their skipper. His name is Cristiano Biraghi. He's an absolute menace with his delivery. So both set plays and when the ball's in play, this guy can dig out a cross from anywhere. As the numbers they'll get onto will tell. But this is pretty much Fiorentina's game plan, I think. I think they'll look to get Biraghi on the ball in space, and he'll be able to put deliveries into dangerous areas. Between him and Amrabat, that's where their attacks are going to start from. He's the assist chart in the Conference League with 6 goals in 12 games, and he's also got a goal to go with it. He takes all their free kicks, all their corners. So we need to try and avoid that at all costs. Now, I don't think he's quite James Ward-Prowse levels, but he is very similar to Kostic of Frankfurt. Was it Kostic, their left back last year, who caused us real problems, even though we knew about it? This is their version of him. He leads the assist charts with 6 goals in 12 games. Domestically, again, like Cabri and Gonzalez, he hasn't quite hit the same numbers. He's got 5 assists and 2 goals in 32 appearances. But like I said, he is their captain. He's been there since 2018, so he's been there a while. He is a very good and apt player that we need to watch out for and try to keep his deliveries to a minimum. Now, this is not something that it's easily said, not easily done. There's 11 players on the pitch, so that you're bound to be giving up some space at times. But he's their main creative outlet. Between him and like I said, Amrabat, they'll be looking to really cause us some problems with their passes. And now I'm going to move on to a couple of honourable mentions. Luka Jovic, who I spoke about earlier, hasn't quite lived up to his name as of yet, but he's definitely a player. And time's still on his side as he's only 25, so he's still got time. If you don't know about Luka Jovic, I'm trying to think of a comparison. He's a goal scorer. He's now an out goal scorer. But saying that, he missed a hatful against Basel. And I mean an absolute hatful. How that game went to extra time with the chances that he had and missed, I will never know. Now, that could either bode really well for us or really badly, because he's not a bad player. His finishing on that day was poor, but I'm hoping that it's affected his confidence and he won't turn up, because he'll come on. If he doesn't start, he'll come on in the final. Jonathan Icone, again, is another very, very fast winger. He also plays on the right wing, so I wouldn't expect to see him start. He can play on the left. Actually, Nico Gonzalez can play on the left or the right, and so can Ikone. So he might play both of them. But yeah, Kono's a very pacey winger that we need to be ready for if he comes on. I'm talking like Mbappe levels of pace. He is absolutely rapid. Gonzalez is fast, very, very fast, in fact, but this guy Ikone is even faster. Something that I've said it a few times, and you'll see it more as we make more and more videos and as time goes by here on the iron side. But we lack pace, and against pacey players we struggle. So I'm worried about their fast players. I will always be worried about the fast players because we haven't got an answer for them. But yeah, he can play on the left or the right. I imagine to see him on the bench and probably come on for Gonzalez later on in the game, or maybe up front. I think you play up front as well to give them some extra pace. Now Milenkovic is their centre back, and I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about him. We've been linked to him for about 4 seasons. He's been there ages, but he's been linked with us for ages. He's a very good centre back, very good and able defender, good with the ball at his feet. He's 6'3" or 6'4", so he's a normal height for a defender. He's dominant in the air. He's a very, very good defender. So I expect to see him and Antonio have a real good tussle because he likes to get close. They have a high line. He's not the fastest, so that'll be a good 1-to-1. They've got Bonaventura, a veteran of the Italian league. He's been there for ages. You definitely would have heard of him. He still has a lot to offer as a centre mid. Now, I don't know if he starts. I don't think he does. But they've got quality all over the pitch. And this is just a few honourable mentions. Their squad has got a plethora of great players, like ours has. Now, I'm not saying the squad's better than ours at all, because our squad is phenomenal. But they have some very good players. So I wouldn't let the fact that they finished 8th in Serie A fool you. I also wouldn't let the fact that they lost a few games in the Conference League fool you. This Fiorentina team are a very good team. That's why they've got to the Coppa Italiana final. I think that's what it's called, which is the equivalent of our FA Cup. They've got there for a reason. They've got to this final for a reason. They have a very good squad. They have a very good manager, and it'll be a very good game. The point is, this won't be a walk in the park. We'll have to be on our A game to take this trophy, which I fully think we will. I think we are the better team. I think we've got the better players, but we need to be on our A game. We need to isolate a few of these players. And if David Moyes, if you've ever seen this, you can take this, mate. I've done this all myself. But that's it. That's my little scout report. As time gets closer, we'll do another match preview close to the game. But until the next one, guys, which will be coming out on Friday, which will be the Leicester match preview. Until then, guys, take it easy and come on, you Irons.